Good morning. Today is Sunday, May 19th, 2024. We continue with Tanya. I think this is our lesson 83, I believe, and we're in chapter 51 and 52 out of 53, making good progress. For the 50 chapters, the Tanya had been constructing the mechanism, sort of like anatomy and physiology of God. It presented the universe, divine and the earthly, as a continuity, not as a discrete step. This is God and this is us, but making it one. And now, Tanya talks about how is it possible to God to create the image. We are humans created in the image of God. How is it possible? And many people say, I don't understand how is it possible? What is it? In Genesis, in the beginning, God created. What was the beginning? So Tanya now says, we're talking about the soul. The human being has a divine soul and an animal soul. Divine soul rests in the brain, and animal soul in the heart, in the left side of the heart. And Torah, Tanya talked about that soul migrates into the right chamber of the heart, interacts and tries to influence the animal soul, and all these dynamics we learned in the previous lessons. Now Tanya is asking a question. You are asking a question. Well, how is it possible that the soul rests in the brain anywhere? Or the Shechinah, divine will, rests in a temple, in the ark, in a Holy of Holies? If it rests there, what about the rest of the world? What about Australia? So Tanya now begins to correct itself or expand itself a little bit. Initial simplified concepts were given in order for us to understand, to get to this point. And now Tanya begins to fill the picture with important details. What Tanya says that soul is everywhere. God is everywhere. So if you think about humans, we are the microcosmos of entire creation. There's a creation, there's a universe, and this is me. Well, I'm part of the universe, and the way I'm part of the universe, that divine will, essentially the soul is sent down to the reality of the lower world, from upper to the lower worlds, and the soul, the creation, before the physicality is made, before time and space. God doesn't have the time and space. We do. So before the time and space is created, there's the divine will to have a concept of the human being. And that divine concept it's like an electromagnetic field, so to speak, that you can touch it. Pre-thought, we're talking about thought, speech, and action, and the pre-thought, the four components. And the way to explain the pre-thought is, we made an example, when the parent is watching a child in a crib, newly born, and you have this connecting feeling to this child. This is my son, or this is my daughter. And you don't think about it. You don't speak about it. You don't do anything. But if the child is crying, you will then think, well, I need to get him a pacifier. Now the thought kicks in. How comfortable he is, but he having trouble falling asleep. Let me get the pacifier. And then you actually say to the husband, honey, can you bring me a pacifier? Honey, is everything okay? You begin to speak. And then you begin to give him pacifier and rock the cradle, and that's the action. Pre-thought, thought, speech, and action. Four things happen. Or I'm sure it happened to everybody. You are walking into the room and you're sitting in the room and you have a feeling that somebody is also in the room. And you look, and yes, there's somebody also sitting there and reading or praying, whatever. So you didn't think of it, you didn't speak of it, you didn't do anything, you didn't turn around, but you felt it. That's a pre-thought process. That pre-thought process, so to speak, is a conceptual creation of the human being conceptually. First step. The second step, now the will emanates, and then you have the process of brain begins to act. So brain already exists conceptually, not even the figure, not physicality, not even a drawing, but just brain. And hands and stomach and lungs and everything else. Also, brain now begins to light up. And that step number 2, energizing of the brain, is comparable to initial pre-thought, initial expression of God's speech. For us, it's just brain. Then brain begins to push the powers to the rest of the body. And now the functionality begins. Now we can feel our hands, and hands can move, and legs can move, and the tongue can taste, and we have all that. That's a step number 3. So concept, brain kicks in, and then the rest of the body. In order then to everything to become on its own level, on its own function, there's a filters. The brain sends only as much energy as the hands need. The brain feeds itself with as much brain it needs. The brain gives stomach and lungs and liver and everything else and bladders as much energy as that needs. And between those connections, there's a lack of filters that regulate, a little valve that regulate how much energy goes everywhere. So that's a concept of a human being. Now, if you step back and think about the universe, so God, light, emanation, God light's emanation creates before time and space. It creates multi-level world. You know, we talked about the world. There's Ein Sof. This is God, and then the lower level Atzilut. It's still not physicality, not even thinking, not even emotions, but it's called the level of emanation. That's analogous to the human concept of human being coming to become a person. Then that emanation goes to the next level. That level is Bria. That's a creation. Now something is shaping up. Then a world of formation, and that's a level of Yetzirah, and then a world of action, which is Asiya. So they have these 4 worlds that the light comes down, but before that, step number 1, the concept of the 4 levels, concept of Ein Sof creating that, is now in place. That's before time and space. Got that. And now once it happens, something clicks in the world of Atzilut, and that's not a timely click. That's just before time and space click in the world of Atzilut that is not physical yet, and still on divine level, but a little bit lower than infinity of the Ein Sof divine. That begins to shed the energy. So that's step number 2, when the Atzilut sort of gets created, and now it begins to shed energy down to Beria, Yetzirah, and Sia, and that level, energy flowing down, creates angels and creates concepts and creates ideas, and ultimately when it reaches a level of Asiya, it creates us human beings. Our souls are created on the level Atzilut, the conceptual soul. Then in Beria, the souls become more into that creation, and then formation. So the soul becomes shaped up. Even soul is not physical, but it's even before soul, before the divine. Well, it's divine concept, it's expression of God, expression Ein Sof, but not yet even on divine level, but gradually as it migrates down. So the light comes down. So first you come sort of like think about the fingers, 4 levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is Ein Sof on top. First, the concept comes from a side and creates this concept. Then the upper world, Atzilut, begins to function. And that's the level, step number 2, and that switch is called Shechinah. Just like our brain thought is empowered by Shechinah, just that becomes from Shechinah. That light begins to come down through the level of Beria, Yetzirah, and Asiya to us, to humans, to human beings, and to everything else, to the animals, to angels on this level, to us on this level. And then by us praying and doing the exercises we spoke in previous lessons, we can jump over to level Beria, over the level of Yetzirah, on which are angels, and then even reach the level of Atzilut, but never the Ein Sof. So, the first step, creation of this concept. Ein Sof creates these 4 worlds. Then emanation in the world of Atzilut. And then the third step, the light comes down, and between these worlds or levels, there's little filters. And that's what we talked about tzimtzum, contraction. We talk about tzimtzum, like a little line through the circle, or filtering. And the filtering is made such that the lowest level, we on the lower level don't get blinded by the bright light without this connection. There's a way that we'll look next in chapter 53, the last chapter, how this light can actually bypass all these levels. But that's a little bit specialized topic. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But for now, this is now analogy. So we are made in the image of God. Now coming back again, coming to God. First step, creation of the concept of the multi-levels. Then originations, which is emanations of divine will in Atzilut. And that is Shechinah. That's Shechinah works. And Shechinah rests in our brain for the human, or in Jerusalem in the Holy Ark. So it's not isolated. And then there's Shechinah there and nowhere else. It's everywhere. But its originations, its truth, its potential, its voltage starts from the Holy Ark inside of Holy of Holies, or in our brain, coming down. Not in our emotions, but in our brains. By the time our emotions kick in, very nice. That's where our fervor, we talked about in the previous lessons, that our fervor, that's our burning desire to unite with God. I'm so holy, I so much love God. God loves me. And that's where you feel about the connection, but it's already on level before the thought. Once that burning, we spoke about it before Shabbat. Once that burning, it's good way to start. Once that burning materializes into the calmness of the level of Berea. Now the storm is quieted and you contemplate the world. You all coming to the level of Shechinah. Shechinah. So that's now the mirror image of, that is how we made in the image of God. So we're microcosmos of the universe, human beings, 3 levels. Concept of the person, brains, energy activated, and then filtering down to all our organs to move around. 3 steps. Universe is created by conceptually this multi-world, multi-layered function of the divine. How divine now you can see how divine is not just happens. The God just clicked the switch and we got created. That became the process of continuity of infinity coming down through Laplace transform into physicality of this world. Continuous process. But in 3 steps, it's concept, and then the time and space become created, then the world of Atzilut energizes the rest of the worlds, put filters between them in the different levels of holiness until it goes to the lowest world with still with the light of God, but filtered with the sunglasses, so to speak, and dimmed, filtered and narrowed by aperture of the camera, so to speak. So we have this connection, but the connection much reduced in order for us to understand, otherwise we will burn by this infinite light of God. That is how God made us in His image, in the functionality of the creation. We're created the way God created the world. And now you can probably feel, maybe not see, not think, not even, but by the pre-thought process, by our expressions, how the concept of God before time and space can be understood, can be felt by the human beings if you try that. In the meditations that Tanya discussed before, it is easier to get to this point after some training and thinking about it. And that is in the book of Tanya that we are using. Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, creator of Tanya, as commented by Chaim Miller, the rabbi who wrote this book, which is, I am so grateful for his work because it makes us understand better our functionality, our purpose on this world. Now, within each word, there's a 10 sfirot to discuss it, and these 10 sfirot interact with each other, they're connected to each other, essentially filtering the light down all the way to us, all the way to the angels, all the way to the first temple, all the way to the second temple, all the way to our times. So in chapter 53, we'll begin to explain how actually does it function now. How does Shechinah, divine presence, that's step number 2, emanation. Step number 2, which is connection between infinity and finality, how that step number 2 actually function, presented, that's a Shechinah, presented itself in the first temple days, In the Second Temple days, when Ark was no longer there, Romans took it out. Or some people say, raiders of the lost Ark, that Kohanim hid it. Or in nowadays, when there is no temple, temple destroyed, yet Shechinah still rests. Where does it rest? How does it make the transformation through our bodies, through the world? Because it's not resting in one place. That's a misconception. It's rest in Jerusalem somewhere. That's where the potential emanates. But the resting, it penetrates. Our prayer is saying, God, you're everywhere. You penetrate the world. You are God, and God is you. It's interesting, in this concept you can see that why the Father to the Son love, connection, Father created the Son, the mother feels connection to the Son when the Son was 2 weeks embryo. That connection is a pre-thought level, and even after the son or daughter is born and goes to the world, mother maintains connection to this person, no matter what person does, good or bad. That connection, pre-thought connection, maintains. Now the child does not have the same feel for the parents. The child can love the parent, respect the parent. Torah commandment says not to love your parent. It says love your God, but not your parent. It's nice if you love your parent, but you have to respect your parent. You have to stand when the parent walks in the room. You have to give an elderly father and mother a glass of water, something to eat, take care of them. Just like he was thinking of you when you were little. So that connection between God and a child, between a parent and a child, between God and us, is a two-way connection. But certainly it comes in with a hierarchy, the priority. It is God who created us. We are part of God. We can't say we're unequal partners. We're equal. My hand is part of me. My hand is no different than my brain, than my hips and my toes. It has the same responsibilities, the same respect and taking care of. But the functionality is different. The hand is made to be hand, foot to be foot, and the nose to be nose. Yet the structure said that the brain is superior to the rest of the body. Its potential is greater, and the energy of the soul, which is in your brain. The soul is in your blood, it says. Now you can see, on one hand, Tanya said the soul is in your brain, and another one, the soul is in your blood. How is it? Well, now you can see the flow from the spiritual flow down to the organs, energize them, connects with the physicality of energizing of the body, of the cells, of your chromosomes, of your DNAs, by the blood going around and lubricating and providing nutrients to the cells. The same thing, but in different expression. Physicality is now acting versus divine power that also energizes your body. Oh, that's what's chapter 52, 53. It's a lot into it, but you can get to this. You should probably review the previous lessons, because the case was built to it. Immediately jumping to these lessons may be a little bit challenging, but yet it's possible to understand it even on its own as a module, so to speak. But preview previous lessons, and if you did see previous lessons, you now can see how Tanya limited its explanation of the steps building up to it. Why Tanya did say that the soul is in the brain and the God is infinite, instead of saying immediately God is everywhere and your soul is everywhere, and not even differentiating the movement of the soul, divine versus animal. How that detail is now becoming, and also the souls your soul on different levels. Your soul on the level of neshama, the soul is the level nefesh. Different levels maintain different expression of your soul. That we can talk in chapter 53 tomorrow. Ezra Hashem, please God, we'll do that. Have a great day. Have a great week.